My name is Samuel Rowan. I am 75 years old, and I want to tell you something most people only understand when it is already too late. Almost everything we are taught about life, success, and getting older is backwards. Not slightly wrong, but completely upside down. And the most painful part is that no one warns you while you still have enough time to change it. Your parents didn't warn you, your teachers didn't warn you, and society didn't warn you. Not because they were cruel, but because they were trapped in the same illusion. I believed it too. For most of my life, I thought I was doing everything right. I followed the rules. I worked hard. I stayed busy. I sacrificed joy and told myself it would all be worth it someday. I believed life would begin later, after the hard part was over. It never did. In my 20s, I was ambitious and eager to prove myself. In my 30s, I was driven and constantly tired. In my 40s, I was exhausted but proud, convinced that sacrifice was the price of success. I had the career people respected, the house that impressed visitors, and the responsibilities that made me feel important. From the outside, my life looked successful. From the inside, it felt like I was always rushing towards something I never quite reached. Every year I told myself the same thing, that I just needed to get through this phase, finish this project, reach this milestone. Then I would slow down. Then I would enjoy my life. But life doesn't pause while you prepare for it. It keeps moving quietly and relentlessly, whether you notice or not. When I was 54 years old, my body made a decision my mind refused to accept. I was sitting in a meeting, arguing over numbers that felt urgent at the time, but mean nothing to me now. Quarterly projections, deadlines, expectations. Then the room tilted. My chest tightened. My vision narrowed. I remember thinking how inconvenient it was. That was my last clear thought. I woke up hours later in a hospital bed, surrounded by machines, harsh lights, and the sound of beeping monitors. My wife was sitting beside me, holding my hand, her eyes swollen from crying. The doctor came in and said I was lucky. That word again, lucky. I had suffered a serious cardiac event, and another few minutes, he said, and I would not have survived. I nodded and thanked him, but later that night, alone in that hospital room, something heavier than fear settled over me. I realized that if I had died that day, I would not have been ready. Not because I feared death, but because I had not really lived. Lying there in the dark, I replayed my life, and what shocked me most was not what I had done, but what I had not done. I had lived on autopilot for decades. Wake up, rush, work, worry, repeat. I checked all the boxes society told me mattered, but I postponed everything that made life feel meaningful. If I had died that day, what would I have left behind? A house someone else would clean out, a career people would forget within months, a calendar full of obligations that disappeared the moment I did. That night, I understood the most dangerous lie we ever tell ourselves, the lie that ruins lives quietly and slowly, the lie that says, I have time. I see people of every age saying it. In their 20s, they say they will enjoy life once they figure things out. In their 30s, they say they will slow down once they are stable. In their 40s, they say they will live when the kids are grown. In their 50s, they say they will finally do what they love when they retire. Let me tell you the truth I learned the hard way. That day never comes. The goalposts keep moving. You get the job and want the promotion. You get the promotion and want security. You get security and want more. There is always another level, another expectation, another reason to wait. And one day, you wake up older than you ever imagined, asking a question that has no answer. Where did my life go? I spent more than 30 years climbing, working harder, sacrificing more, and delaying everything meaningful. When I finally reached the top, I realized the ladder was leaning against the wrong wall. I had become very good at something that did not fulfill me. And here is the part no one tells you. You do not get to start over. Time does not reset. Youth does not return. Energy does not magically come back. You do not climb down and choose a new ladder. You live with the choices you made. People chase success like it is the solution to everything. I did too. But success is a terrible master. It feels incredible for about 2 days, and then the feeling fades. Then you need the next achievement, the next milestone, the next validation. It is a treadmill disguised as progress. I watched friends sacrifice their health, their marriages, and their relationships for goals that barely remembered their names. One of my closest friends worked non-stop, 70 hours a week, no vacations, no rest, always saying he would slow down next year. Next year came with a stroke. At his funeral, his son stood up and said something I will never forget. He said his father was a successful man, but he barely knew him. That sentence should stop you cold. Your biggest regrets will not be about what you failed at. They will be about what you never tried. I do not regret bad investments or missed promotions. I regret the trip I never took because work needed me. I regret the relationship with my brother that I let fade away. I regret the book I always meant to write. I regret the evenings I chose emails over my children. Those regrets do not fade with time. They grow heavier because you realize you cannot go back and reclaim them. You think you have unlimited time with the people you love. You do not. I lost my father suddenly when I was 47. We had a complicated relationship, and we always said we would talk things through soon. Soon never arrived. One moment, one phone call, and he was gone. No warning, no goodbye. What haunts me is not the arguments. It is the ordinary moments I skipped, the Sundays I did not call, the dinners I missed, the conversations I assumed would happen later. They did not. After my heart attack, I did not become perfect. I became intentional. I stepped back from work. I stopped chasing approval. I learned how to say no, which was harder than saying yes ever had been. I began protecting my time like my life depended on it, because it did. I started to understand what actually matters, and it was not complicated. Time with people you love. Work that feels meaningful to you. Experiences instead of possessions. Presence instead of constant distraction. I know what you are thinking. You have bills, responsibilities, people who depend on you. So did I. This is not about abandoning responsibility. It is about not sacrificing your entire life to things that will not matter in the end. Ask yourself this honestly. If you died tomorrow, would you be satisfied with the life you have lived so far? Not impressed, not admired, but satisfied. If the answer is no, then whatever you are waiting for is not coming. I am 75 now. Every morning I wake up aware that my time is limited. We all live on borrowed time. Most people just pretend they do not. I have grandchildren now, and when I look at them, I see the same pressure, the same stress, the same chasing I once felt. I try to warn them, but they do not really hear me. Not because they are careless, but because you cannot see the storm while you are standing inside it. That is why I am telling you this, so maybe you will hear it earlier than I did. If I could speak to my younger self, I would tell him to stop trying to impress people who will not matter in the end. I would tell him to stop trading health for approval and to stop waiting for permission to live. I would tell him to call his parents more often, to take the trip before it is convenient, to say the words before it is too late. I would tell him to do the things that scare him, to say no to what drains him, and to say yes to what makes him feel alive. And I would tell him to start now, not next year, not after this phase, but now. There will never be a perfect time. Life will always be busy. Money will never feel sufficient. Responsibility will never disappear. Waiting for ideal conditions is how people lose their lives quietly. If you keep waiting, one day you will realize you waited your entire life away. I do not know how much time I have left. Maybe 10 years, maybe less. But I know this. The years after I stopped postponing life have been the richest of all. Not because I earned more, but because I finally lived. You have a choice right now. You can keep chasing, keep waiting, keep telling yourself you have time, or you can wake up today and live intentionally. Do not wait until you are my age to learn this. Someday is not coming. Someday is today. The clock is ticking. What are you going to do with your time?